Welcome into episode 344 of the Sources Say podcast, your go-to Kentucky basketball and recruiting podcast on the growing KSR Podcast Network. I am your host, Jack Pilgrim of Kentucky Sports Radio. Very excited to be joined by the one and only Shawn Smith of Go Big Blue Country. Shawn, how the heck are you?
I am fantastic, Jack Pilgrim. How are you?
Well, I woke up feeling like absolute trash. You might hear the congestion or whatever, but like I woke up and my throat, my throat was like windpipe was somebody was sitting on my windpipe just closing it, and I was like I can't breathe. I don't know what's going on. Allergies just knocked me out, and I've been just kind of off all day. But you know what? Excuses are for lamos. That's not what we do here. We're here for the content. It's obviously a relatively slow-ish time, just in terms of actual tangible basketball. You know, we're not in the Bahamas right now like Louisville, playing in a foreign exhibition tour. We're just kind of relying on summer practice reports. We are going into, or just wrapped up week 7, I believe, of summer workouts. So I think one more week to go before things wrap up. I think they kind of slow down for a minute and then get ramped back up for the preseason later on in the fall. So then we're going to get a real big dead time coming up. But there's a lot to talk about. We wanted to use this show as kind of the feedback on the film breakdown before was tremendous. So we wanted to kind of continue where we left off with that, continue to kind of break things down and give fans a preview of what's to come this upcoming season under Mark Pope. But there's a lot of other news going on with recruiting. We got kind of big picture updates with who Kentucky is going after, who they're not in contention for any longer. I got some really good feedback, just kind of reaching out to a bunch of people around the program about just kind of what the big picture philosophy is going to look like moving forward, what we should expect from Mark Pope's first recruiting class in 2025. Some pretty substantially positive updates, and maybe some that will be polarizing for the general fan that we'll just kind of have to take head on and understand that this is a new era. They're going to do things their own way. They can't recruit like John Calipari. They're not going to recruit like John Calipari. And it's going to be a little bit of a culture shock for a lot of people, Shawn, but it's the new reality. They're going to build rosters the way they're going to build them, whether fans love it or hate it initially. And we're going to find out a lot of stuff very, very soon. Some big decisions right around the corner, Shawn.
Yeah, and you said it best right there, that it is a new era here. It's different. The way they recruit is going to be different. Their approach is going to be different. It's an entirely new staff, and we know that the challenges that presents. We also know kind of the new birth that has, and it's a completely different look from top to bottom with what Kentucky's doing, and they're trying to establish their footprint, obviously in this landscape of how much NIL is dominating college basketball recruiting. I've been on this whole thing now for about a month, and some people look at me like I'm crazy. Some people tell me it's probably going to settle in somewhere in the middle, but I think you're moving towards days of where I just don't know how much tradition really matters anymore in college basketball. You're talking this now. You're talking money and how much is there. How much am I going to give to such and such? How much of my NIL fund is going to be put to this half of the roster? But I also got to be able to put a winner on the floor. I can't just have one dude and a bunch of guys that can't contribute. You've got to find balance. Now, your programs like your Kentuckys, your North Carolinas, we know that the fan support, the money, all that stuff, it goes hand in hand. But I don't know how much like NBA draft and getting people drafted is really going to play a hand in this anymore. I think a lot of it is, what is the NIL conversation and how much are you willing to spend? And we know the price just continues to go up for these guys. That guy on the graphic right there, oh boy, really setting it.
And that's kind of where we're going to start this conversation. AJ Dabansa cuts his list to 7. Kentucky is not included. Fans don't love it, especially the fact that BYU is on that list and Kentucky is not. You're seeing all of the same storylines we've kind of sort of addressed in passing. Why is it that BYU has all of these resources, and why are these recruits wanting to play for BYU after Mark Pope leaves, but now they don't want to play for Mark Pope at Kentucky? let's call a spade here. AJ DeBenza wouldn't know where BYU was located, wouldn't know who coaches them, wouldn't know what the mascot is for BYU if NIL didn't exist. Let's call a spade here. They have an unlimited war chest of NIL resources that, as we have talked about ad nauseum, that they have the flexibility now because Mark Pope showed them tangible growth and development in the Big 12. And hey, here's what, mediocre resources could do for us. I can win basketball games at a place that doesn't traditionally win at a high level, especially not in a Power 5 conference like the Big 12. Pope gave them a taste of what big picture success looked like. And there is added excitement once Pope left to say, we got to sustain this. We got to figure out a way to sustain this. The only way to sustain that is by hiring a superstar of a coach in Kevin Young. They were able to do that, but also giving him the resources. And the only reason why he even took the job to begin with, and saying, whatever it costs to get the AJs of the world, we're going to give that to you. So this has nothing to do with who is coaching where and what the brand of each respective school. AJ's not looking at BYU and going, man, I just like that shade of blue and white a little bit better than Kentucky. Hell no. Don't be naive. Understand why the list looks the way it does. It's because he had a price tag that a lot of schools, Kentucky included, said, that's just a lot to commit to one guy, when, as we're going to see as this show develops, and as we saw in the last film breakdown, what we're going to see today, it's not an individual one-on-one, one guy leads you to superstardom. That's not how Mark Pope's system works. Does he love AJ DeBenza? Of course, everybody does. He's a generational talent. But to spend $3 million plus, and that's like to get in the door to start the conversation. If you want to be at the closing table with us, you're going to have to front $3 million plus. That's just not, Kentucky views it and says, I can get 3 very, very good high school kids for the price of one generational kid. That's the way Mark Pope is going to operate. And whether you agree with it or not, that's just going to how things be how things are going to be moving forward. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. And I'm okay if the best players in the country, if the best player in the country doesn't go to a top 5 program, I'm okay with that. That's going to happen, especially in today's thing. And you're seeing this, look in professional sports. Each guy sets a new record for amount of money, breaks barriers when it comes to the substantial amounts of contract money. I mean, you're seeing it with your Boston Celtics players. I mean, look at the way that and then it's just going to be set even higher. The same thing is going to happen with NIL. Generational talent comes through, boom, it pops. It then kind of increases the market for a lot of other guys, Jack. And then the next generational talent that comes through, guess what's going to happen? AJ DeBenza is going to be number 2 in the amount that we're talking about being NIL thrown out. That's just the way that this thing happens. But I really think there is something to be said about program-rich tradition. You're still going to have it. It's just not going to play as big of an impact in recruiting, in my opinion. Like the environment when you go on visits and things, it's important. But I'm telling you, those conversations about dollar signs is going to be even more important moving forward if you're recruiting the top. And we know that Kentucky is going to have to recruit the top, and they're going to want to recruit the top. What's going to get the dominoes falling here for Kentucky? Mark Pope doesn't really have a recruiting reputation among elite talent. If he were to land Jasper, that'd be a significant bump. I'm not discrediting that at all. And I know I've been tagged in a lot of stuff today on social media about some things with Jasper's recruitment, and would it be a PR blow? You can't let that guy leave the area and go play somewhere else, especially a Carolina or an Alabama. Jack, the only thing I've been trying to say is recruiting is about relationships, and it's about now NIL. Kentucky was on the back half of one side of that in relationships. They did not have this relationship established. Now it's about, can you close it and get it done before you cross the finish line? And we know that finish line is coming very quickly. Can Kentucky get it done? That, to me, landing him would be a step in the right direction, because then you've got something you can flex about. If not, I still don't think that it's going to be a fatal blow. It's just you're going to take a hit. Yes, nationally, you will take a hit. I don't think it's going to be crushing if it does happen. That's all I'm trying to say.
And can I get fans to look at this from a different angle just for a change? Like, we understand that he's a Lexington kid, that his dad was a star at UK for football. We know that his uncle played football with dad. We know that Alvis Johnson, who's a larger than life figure in Kentucky high school football, was an assistant AD at Kentucky for 8 years. The family ties are so unbelievably deep that, of course, just from a PR perspective, it's going to be a hit because that kid's 10 minutes away from your school. Like, I get it. I understand on that from that angle, but we also need to understand that this is a 5-star, top 10, top 15 level recruit that isn't giving Kentucky a hometown discount. He's being recruited as a premium product. He wants to be recruited as a premium product and the price tag that comes with that. So don't you almost respect the way Mark Pope and his staff are operating and not just saying, we got to do whatever it takes to land Jasper. We're going to pay him $500K more than everybody else is offering him just to make dang sure that he's staying home. They're recruiting each other as mutual, on the same level as, okay, if you are a premium product, we're going to recruit you just as hard and equal resources and things as the Michael Browns of the world, as the Caden Lewises of the world, the other point guards. And if it does get to the point where Jasper's ask is, double what you could get for a comparable talent in Pope's eyes, and that's for him. That's for him to decide as he builds his recruiting board. Those are the things that I don't think Kentucky fans are valuing enough. That this isn't just, Nate Oates and Preston Murphy at Alabama are calling and texting him every single day and have been for years. Hubert Davis has not missed a day calling their family to try to get Jasper and steal him home. They have extended offers that have compensated for the local advantage that Kentucky has, and saying, I know I'm going to have to pay extra to be able to get a kid of this caliber, because there are we are at a disadvantage because he has the Kentucky ties and grew up in Lexington and so on and so forth. So it's more complicated than just as simple as Lexington kid with Kentucky ties. You have to do whatever it takes to land him, because it would be financially irresponsible to overpay for any kid. As we just saw, we have a generational talent that comes through once every 5-ish plus years, one every 10 years, whatever you want to describe AJ. I think he's that good. And Kentucky kind of not so subtly said, we'll walk. That's cool, because we could get 3 really, really, really talented guys for $1 million a pop to check a bunch of different boxes for you instead of one individual piece. It's about the big picture, not individual.
Only true traditional blue bloods on AJ's list, right?
Yep.
Kansas
and North Carolina.
So like that's where it's going to look different. And I think that this recruiting landscape is going to be different. How different, I'm not sure, but Pope and Kentucky, they're going to find their way in this. They're going to find their footing and kind of establish what they want to do. And we've talked a ton of offense and about how this current roster was put together strategically. Your recruiting board is going to be the same. Every name on that board, it's going to be something that fits, and then it's going to be prioritized in like, okay, what can I do here? Like when it comes to my NIL fund, how much of it am I going to put to this chunk of the roster, but I can't discredit and kind of look over this. You're trying to win national championships at Kentucky. You're not trying to make a PR splash at Kentucky.
It is not Pope's job.
You want to
win the PR war. Yeah.
No. Kentucky won the PR war a ton.
He's got as much equity built up as imaginable from a PR front. Maybe it's time for Pope to kind of call his own shots, to lay his own foundation of how to build a roster.
Like, I mean, how many times did Kentucky win the PR war under Cal? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it was always these run of commitments right before signing day. Like, it was taking over the Final Four with some storyline when you weren't playing in it. Like, it got you one title, it got you a really good run, but I'm not ready to. The only thing that I'm saying here, I can't get concerned until I have a reason to be concerned. And right now, I don't really have a reason to be concerned.
Me neither.
If Jasper ends up somewhere else, I'm still going to see this thing out all the way through the spring, because we're talking about retention, we're talking about transfer portal, we're talking about other options. Give this staff a chance to establish who it is. Right now, it's in summer workouts and summer practices, Jack. Like, there's still a lot to be done and a lot to take place before we can really form an opinion of what this thing's going to look like. And I'm just wanting to see, like, the same thing we did with Cal in this last Kentucky team. I waited all the way to the very end to see it through before I gave my opinion. Let's get through this next step here, get into the season, see how things are going, get to the spring. I still believe 26 is where relationships are established and your blueprint is in place. That's where you kind of get an idea of where you can go and where you want to go. Will there be reason for criticism? Yeah, every college basketball coach in the country does something that's probably able to be criticized and critiqued. At every program, you can kind of pick it all apart. Right now, I'm not ready to pick apart this staff because they've not even had a chance to kind of get off the ground yet.
And so we had Cody Feger on the show, and he talked about the importance of retention and saying that that's going to be the foundation of this program moving forward. That's going to be a lot of what they do and how they operate is going to involve returning talent. And I had a separate conversation yesterday with somebody just as close to the situation and knowing what the plan is moving forward and how they're going to operate. And they point blank period said the most important recruits that we have in this upcoming cycle are Colin Chandler, Otega Owe, Brandon Garrison, Travis Perry, and Trent Noah. They said, we're not going to become a portal turnstile. We're not going to, if we're going to lose talent, it's going to be to the draft. And in that case, it's a recruiting tool. You use that to your advantage. And we're okay with having a somewhat healthy relationship with the NBA, not to where the sole focus is like it was under Cal, but to where you want to have tangible NBA success and growth with your guys and proving that you can recruit and develop. Like that is a lifeblood of your program. But that's going to be something to monitor with how they approach high school recruiting. They are not going to load up on 7 mediocre 3-stars just for the sake of adding a guy in July, like we just saw this past cycle, adding Jordan Burks and Joey Hart. And I like them both as players, and I wish them the best of their next stops. But those weren't going to be recruit and develop guys. Those were portal guys. When they signed, we said, well, we're going to be seeing wherever they land next year. And the work that Cal put in to develop them is going to be seen by Georgetown and Ball State. Like, what good does it do you to add that level of talent? So Kentucky's plan moving forward is we're not going to add, we'll take them for the sake of taking them guys in high school if it means that a Colin Chandler is going to look and go, damn, I'm being over-recruited right now. I need to go back home to Utah. They're going to do whatever it takes. They view Colin Chandler as a top 25 recruit that he was 3 years ago, that he's going to be next offseason as what's going to be a huge building block for next year and the ones to come. A guy like Brandon Garrison, they had a really tough decision where you have Great Osobor on campus. You have a price tag for him. You know exactly what he costs. You know what he's going to be, the immediate impact producer. And you turn him down because he's a one-and-done super senior, because Brandon Garrison, who may not be the immediate contributor you hope that he will be, but he has 3 years of eligibility left, and he's a former McDonald's All-American. You say, man, I trust that the vision in 2-3 years with that guy is going to be more worthwhile than the 1 year impact that we're going to get out of Great Osobor. that's going to be, you're going to see a lot more Brandon Garrison type of decisions moving forward, where we're not going to get seniors in the portal with 1 year of eligibility left. They might add one guy or two like that each cycle, but it's going to be guys with extra years of eligibility. You want experience, but you don't want a constant turnstile of super seniors or whatever the equivalent is this upcoming year, 4-year guys, and 7 one and dones at the high school level where you have to rebuild every single year. They're going to find that happy medium, and it might not be the sexiest thing in the world to take Colin Chandler return versus whoever a top 30, the top 30 player that you love in this upcoming cycle, but they value his experience and his familiarity with the system infinitely more than the anticipated production of insert high school player here.
Yeah. And here's my thing with this too. You want to be able to retain 100% of guys that you can retain. We know that is probably not possible, right? Regardless of where you are, there's going to be guys that go to the portal. Is it going to be as many? Probably not. I don't think so. I think Kentucky's actually going to be able to retain guys in this program because I think they're recruiting guys, and then you're up front with conversations. That's where it's important. You're not setting expectations here. You can't talk to every single player like their future is 1 year from now, 9 months from now, you're going to the NBA. You can't approach it the same. You got to approach guys differently. Now, here's the thing. In coaching, you always have slippage. That's not a bad thing. By slippage, Jack, I mean, if I'm teaching my spacing and I'm putting spots down the floor and I want to say, hey, I want you to get to the deep corner, I want you to get here in the slot, I always extend those X's and spots out on the floor a little bit more than what I want, because in a game you get slippage, which means then, okay, I got you here in practice, but it's okay because with that slippage, I've got you where I actually want you to be. For Kentucky, I think it's about shooting for 100% retention, but if you fall somewhere around 85% and you get that slippage, that's actually ideally where you probably want to be, because you're going to have guys in your program that you bring in that you think fit, and maybe they don't fit, and then in their end, they're going to see that they fit somewhere else too, and that's okay. That's why the portal exists. But if we just can't be back to the days of 5%, 10%. That's where in Kentucky's not going to get there, Jack. They're recruiting different guys. They're recruiting guys that I think are program players that are going to make it and go the distance here and be juniors and seniors in this program. And I was talking to somebody today. I know we're talking 25, we're talking 26, but I'm talking roster year 3 is where I think Pope firmly cements what he wants this program to be. Right now, it's about what can I do to win and get to Final Fours and do it the best way I can. He's doing it the right way. Super seniors is the way right now. Here in a couple of years, maybe it's retention from this class as juniors. You've got a solid class that's going to be sophomores. Now maybe you're starting to land elite talent in that freshman class. Now it's about mixing in portal pieces, but you want to build in some slippage in your program in all areas, not just on the floor, in recruiting, roster construction, all of that. I know we talked about slippage this past season as being a bad thing. It is in those terms, but in these terms, it's built in, and I think you actually settle in where you want to be in all areas.
Yeah, it's not going to be the sexiest thing in the world, the way they're going to move forward. And I know the backlash is going to be what it is. And you're probably not going to be able to avoid that until you have a full year sample size to say, well, our way works. They just it's a vision right now. You just got to kind of put it, instead of just in film based on what we saw at BYU and what NBA guys are doing and practice cuts and saying, let's kind of makeshift this film breakdown for this top ranked recruit. You kind of just got to let the games play out and move forward, whether people love it or hate it. If that's going to be your identity, that's what it's going to be moving forward. And got some insight into what the plan for this 2025 class is going to look like. The goal is to get those guys with returning eligibility to come back, that they think that that's going to happen and they feel really good about that, barring Colin Chandler explodes and becomes an NBA pick. And if that's the case, then You love that result. If Brandon Garrison becomes a pro after this upcoming season, then things went really, really well for your team, and you live with those consequences, and you pivot when the time comes. But as things stand today, they want to return the guys with remaining eligibility. I just named that group of 5. And then they have 7 super seniors to replace. 4 of those replacements ideally are going to be at the high school level. And then obviously if you get a Darren Peterson that says, hey, I want to, come, or Caleb Wilson, one of the top end cream of the crop guys want to come, then you can adjust that accordingly with 5 or whatever you can, but loosely their vision is to take 4. And I think just kind of, we're talking out loud now, what that class is going to look like. I think the offers that they have out right now, 15-ish or so, a dozen plus we can call it. They feel that all of those guys, they are at least in some semblance of, they have some sort of shot to land all of them. And the goal is to land 4 of that bunch. And it's going to be kind of a process of like a order of operations based on timing with, okay, Jasper Johnson is going to be deciding August 21st or 22nd. He's your top priority today. And if he chooses to go elsewhere, then you pivot to Michael Brown, Caden Lewis, Braden Burry, some of the other guard options who can pass, dribble, shoot that you love. And you kind of go based on how quickly the turnaround is going to be for making a commitment. You have a situation like Malachi Moreno where they love Malachi. They want Malachi. They're pushing for a commitment from Malachi. He just took an unofficial visit to Kentucky on Friday. Things are trending. There's movement one way or another coming with Malachi. But there's also a deal where they like Eric Reeby quite a bit. Another perfect plug and play fit for Mark Pope, 4-star center. It's one of those deals where how long are we going to sit and wait and risk that Malachi isn't going to burn us at the end of the day and go to Indiana when we have Eric Reeby, who they feel pretty confident would commit if they push for one. So it's one of those deals where you want to lay the foundation with a couple guys. Hopefully you get Jasper, and Kentucky still feels that they're very, very much in the mix for him. They're not going to overpay for Jasper, but based on their unofficial visit and how conversations went on Thursday, they think that all the talk about it's either Alabama or UNC, it's not necessarily totally true. So we'll see what happens there. But if you can lay a foundation of getting 2-3 guys in this early period, maybe a Braylon Mullins, you get Kentucky's done a bang up job getting in position with him. Chris Senac, they love him. They're kind of sitting behind guys like LSU and Houston for him, but they're kind of in that dark horse. We're making a move. We like him a lot. Let's see if we can go, potentially close on him. If you can start, a Tunde Yesufu, guys like that, get 2 or 3 guys and then say, all right, in the spring, if you get a guy like, Darren Peterson, I think he's going to be an early guy, but if you get a guy like Caleb Wilson who says, I love the pitch. I know I was favoring Arkansas before. I know these other schools were, loving me to death, but man, there's just something about Kentucky. I love the way the system is run. I love the way their 4 was used with Andrew Card this upcoming year. I could be that. Then you can kind of swing for the fences, knowing that you have the portal in your back pocket and knowing that you're not totally in love with taking high school kids anyway. So it's going to be kind of this balancing act where, do I think that they have 4 guys that they're saying we got to land these 4 and then we'll pivot to our backup options? No, I think that they cast a net of 12 to 15 guys and said, we're going to take 4 and we're going to take 4 complementary fits, and whoever wants to be the first and wants to take that spot like Brandon Garrison did over Great Osibor when it came time to make a decision, they're going to take the guys that want to be here. That's going to be Mark Pope's MO moving forward. I love it. I hope it's Jasper Johnson. I would love that, but I don't think that they're going to lose sleep at the end of the day if the bidding just gets so astronomically high and they have to settle for Mikel Brown, because again, it's a system fit. They want Jasper. Jasper is their top priority, and they feel that that they're right there for him. But as you started by saying before, I think the PR hit is going to be more significant than what the on-court results are going to reflect. And this is coming from an absolute Jasper Johnson fan. I love that kid, a beautiful family. We've had him on the show. I want him in a Kentucky uniform, point blank, period. I'm just thinking out loud about how this vision is going to be moving forward, that I don't think there's going to be any make or break kids for Kentucky moving forward. They're trying to fill certain roles for this program.
They are. And like I said, this is something that it's going to take a while to establish the direction they're wanting to go, and they'll settle in and they'll find their place. They'll find whatever it is they're wanting to do. They'll land guys. Just got to get one to get it rolling. Show that you have something about you in recruiting, that you can go in there and you can land a kid. Who are you going up against? Who are you recruiting against? But most importantly, do they fit? And that's the part I trust about this staff. Even if you slide down and you're getting, like, let's say that this class isn't ranked number 1, number 2 in the country. Let's say you settle in somewhere number 5, number 6. Number 5 and number 6 recruiting classes with retention get you to Final Fours with good coaching, good system in place.
UConn doesn't have the number 1 recruiting class every year. They don't. They don't give a rat's behind to be number 1 in the recruiting. They don't care about winning the summer. They care about winning in April.
Banners aren't hung off recruiting classes. It's and not to say, look, what happened the last 15 years in getting talent like that, incredible. John Calipari is still going to do it. He's still doing it right now at Arkansas. It's an incredible gift that he has. We'll see what works here now. It's not going to be the same. You're still going to get elite talent? Yeah, it's going to mix itself in. You're going to have a blend of a lot of different areas when it comes to roster construction, and just settle through. Like, change is not comfortable. It's not. And this is a program that is changing, and some of it's comfortable. The honeymoon phase is starting to go away, and now it's going to be about results. You're starting to see that now. Talking season's getting closer and closer. Like, look, they play in less than 3 months. Exhibition games. Like, it's coming. We're probably under 100 days from seeing Kentucky on the floor against another opponent. It's here. Honeymoon phase is over. And I saw that caught me off guard, Daniel, putting something in the chat. But I'm excited to see where we go August, September. I'm excited to get a look at these guys myself here pretty soon. And I want to see where they are, where these transfers are. Where's the 5 position? I'm more focused on what this team's about to do. Recruiting is going to figure itself out. What does this team do on the floor in November? What does Mark Pope do to have success at Kentucky in year 1? That is the main thing right now. Because if you don't have it, then guess what happens in recruiting, Jack? Oh, Kentucky's not going to be Kentucky. It's going this way. You got to do that before you can really establish anything else. You're just wanting to build relationships, have a vision, get 1 or 2 to buy into it. Then you have success, and then everybody's buying into it.
Yeah, same thing that happened with the portal. Exact same thing that we talked about, where you got to trust the vision. The kids did not want to dive in head first just because a press conference looked cool and just because the film at BYU looked great. Like, they had to be able to see something tangible and say, am I wasting away my future by going to Kentucky? And it took some time to get the ball rolling. And then once the pieces kind of started to come together and these players got to see what the vision looked like, they were like, oh, okay, I could see myself playing with Andrew Carr, or I could see myself playing with, Kobe Brea, and so on and so forth. Like, it was a calculated approach. Everything that they do is totally, totally calculated. And it's, it just is what it is. We're going to have to accept it for better or worse. And I am trusting it, whether you choose to or not. That's totally your call. But I think we got to see this team play games first before we lose our absolute minds that AJ Dabansa decided to cut Kentucky from his list and that we weren't willing, why is he considering BYU and not Kentucky? There's a reason for it. There's an absolute reason for it. You don't go from saying I'm going to be visiting Kentucky in the fall to cutting them from your list entirely. Stuff happens. Everything is calculated. Everything is going to be fine. I do want to bring something up since you were talking about Daniel in the chat. Daniel, why don't you come on here? Can you 3-screen this sucker?
Get him out of the chat right now, please.
Daniel, I'm waiting for you. Get on here. There we go.
I got the headband on. I'm ready to go, boys.
All right, buddy. I need your commitment on something.
What's that?
Kentucky men's basketball announces an open tryout for this upcoming 2024-2025 season on August 30th with a couple stipulations. You must be a full-time academically eligible UK student. I'm assuming that you are academically eligible. We good?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, we're good there.
Yeah, it's good enough.
For a walk-on spot on the roster. If you want to be the next Brian Long, Sam Malone, Walker Horn, Grant Derbyshire, now is your chance. Can we get a commitment from you, Daniel Hager, that you will be trying out for the Kentucky men's basketball team under Mark Pope?
I got to figure out how to get the invite because it said you have to be invited to it.
Well, no, you send it.
You get an invite.
You send an application. You email UK men's basketball at uky.edu with a subject UK walk-on tryout. All you need is a first and last name. You got one of those, two of those. A UK ID number, UK email, cell phone number, playing experience. That's gonna be the ticker for you. And height, weight, etc. Your profile. What does a Daniel Hager profile look like?
Not great. Wasn't good enough to play for the Broncos during my time in high school. Tried to play middle school basketball, forgot the physical, so couldn't play there. So I think I'm more of a street ball type guy. That's kind of where I've made my rounds. But hey, it gets it done. It does get it done.
I request we see some video footage of Daniel's.
Do you have it dialed up? If you don't dial it up, I'm going to show it on my phone, bro.
Oh,
you better dial it up.
And that whole you weren't a Bronco. I wish I'd been there, man. You'd have been a Bronco. You're
at least a walk-on spot. I know I had a few friends who were kind of just sitting on the bench. I think I might have been a little better than them.
How about this?
Jack's got it coming here.
Oh,
hey, that's DeMarcus Surratt right there. He's got some good offers, man. I know it's
bang out.
Clip's a little old.
All right, hold on. How about
he'd definitely be taking that one and going the other way on you.
How about this? Oh, Emmanuel quickly floater. Beautiful. Look how pissed off that guy is.
IQ clone.
Look at that, bro.
Ooh.
We're telling me that guy can't make it on Mark Pope's bench as a walk-on? Come on, man.
I told him the only thing that we got to get down before he plays in the SEC is playing off 2 feet because we know how these SEC officials are with charges.
That's a good point.
Like
Doug Shouse is gonna have a field day with you, bro. Like you gotta get that in check.
Yeah, I'll work on it. That's what I'm working forward to now. August 30th, football game the next day. That's it, baby.
We got a month.
Consider this part of your initiation. To be a KSR intern, you must go through the gauntlet of. I'm playing in the Reed Shepherd fantasy camp this year. It's the Coach Cal fantasy camp that we've seen in the past. It's transitioning into a Reed Shepherd camp where the coaches are Tubby Smith, Oscar Sheboy, a whole bunch of celebrities are coming in to coach this thing. Goose Givens is one of them. I'm playing in it. Big Blue Drew is playing in it as well. I just got him confirmed as well. So I'm going to be playing at Rupp Arena one way or the other. So I can't be the only one representing Sources Say for on-court playing experience. So something's got to give here, Dane.
We'll have to reach out to them and see if Steven can follow me in with the camera to see my tryout. Now that would be some peak content.
Okay. There's also one other thing. It starts at 6:30 a.m. Are you going to be able to be awake by 6:30? It ends at 8 a.m.
Brother, I will not sleep that night.
You can just camp out.
I'll be in the gym, man. I'll be in the gym for like 3 straight days before that. So they won't know what's hitting them.
Well, Daniel, we're very, very excited for this. It's going to be an epic feature that we put on by KSR. We'll figure out a way to get a camera in there, and you are doing it. It's mandatory. We're not going to allow you to skate out of it and go, "Oh, my ankle hurts," or "Oh, I'm sore. I pulled a hamstring." I don't care. You're playing with a pulled hamstring. We do it for the brand. Do it for the content. That's what your initiation is going to be, for better or worse.
Right. I'm a team player, so whatever's best for the squad.
Can't wait. Now get the heck out of here. All right. Now, what you guys actually came here for. Let's jump into our little film breakdown. Again, the feedback was awesome in the first run at it. So we want to do something very similar where Coach Shawn Smith just kind of does his thing and shows why he gets paid the big bucks at Frederick Douglass. So let's get rolling with clip 1, where we have Dalen Hall initiating with Trevin Nell hitting the shot in both clips 1 and 2, and then Jackson Robinson initiating in clip 2. Show us what we need to see here, Shawn.
Before we roll it, the last film room, we talked a ton about transition offense and how they would get into their delay action with the 5-man in the center of the floor. They would run some away action. Now we're going to be talking about some strong action here early. So there's different actions that BYU used to initiate offense early. Once again, Jack, you're going to see the similarities early in the clock. They're putting pressure on you, and here we come right down the floor. And clip 1 once we get it rolling here. I mean, this is effortless flow right into some strong action. Just a quick stagger. Got doubles there. You got 2 guys. That's what makes it strong instead of just your away action. That's quick. I mean, what was the shot clock when the ball went through the net?
30 or 20. Yeah, 23.
Yep, 24 right there. 24, 23 seconds. Ball's going through the net. Early offense. That is something that Mark Pope has talked a ton about. That's what BYU was built around. Beautiful. I mean,
and something that we're going to see talking to people around the program, and why they're kind of hesitant to label the point guard position with them. Like, yes, we know Lamont Butler and Kirk Kriisa are the point guards, but they don't have a traditional point guard because it is such a pass ahead, get it past half court in 3 seconds. And so, very few opportunities for live on ball dribbles. Like there's so much movement off and on ball player ball movement that you don't need a traditional point guard to dribble the air out of the ball. That's something, again, that we'll have to kind of address with recruiting, that it's not going to be just who is Kentucky's point guard. They're going to decide who is Kentucky's lead point guard by who has the best assist turnover ratio by the end of the year. That's the elephant in the room over there.
It is. And then the same thing in that clip too, like you don't see guys forcing spacing. Like you've heard me talk a ton about getting to the corners. They flow right into something right out of it. It's just communication. Now, if nothing's there, then they're flowing into it. Somebody's making a 45 cut and they're getting their spacing established. But that's early offense. You're taking guys got the ball, the rest is taking away the paint, and BYU takes advantage of that and hits a 3. I mean, that's just communication. Boom, right into it. That's early communication on offense and knowing what you want to do. That's part of the principles of Mark Pope's transition attack. You know those 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to initiate your attack, to get into it. That's nothing that Pope's standing over there calling. That's just playing basketball.
Let's do clip 2, something very similar with Jackson Robinson initiating. Again, it doesn't matter who is going to be initiating. 4 or 5 different guys on this team are going to initiate in some form or fashion, with Trevin Nell hitting the 3 again.
The exact same look. Getting to strong action right away. So we've seen Mark Pope's offense in the first film breakdown play a lot through the 5-man, getting the ball to the 5-man, getting into some zoom, getting into some long curls, some back cuts, some different actions, or just going away and getting into something. This is a different look, which then makes you really hard to guard if you do hit the 5-man, or if you don't get something right there initially off that. What are you doing? So just kind of being able to attack it in different ways. Another look where the ball's at, look where the shot clock's at. 26 seconds, ball's in hands, ready to make a shot. Look at the defense. You got guys standing straight up because they're thinking with 6 seconds into the possession, they're not having to stick. And then here they are again, 24 seconds, ball's in the air at 23, through the net. That's 2 possessions, nothing called. It's just getting into your offense. That's against a top 25 team on the road.
And one of the players, I can't remember who it was, maybe Kerr Kriisa, said that Mark Pope is free of a coach as imaginable. Like he doesn't micromanage over the course of the game. It's all read based, that the players play off of one another. He has the structure, he has the system set, and it's up to the players to decide how things move forward. That's why when we had Cody Fieger on a couple of weeks back, when we asked how many actions would you say you have, he's like, buddy, that's a question that I physically cannot answer, because it's A, too many, but B, it's so read based, and so one thing could look the same with in one possession and then completely different the next, with the players kind of having the same movements. It's all entirely read based, and there are dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds, of different options for these guys to choose from.
Roll that same clip back, Daniel, and then slow it down right before they get into the action. All right, keep going. Right here. Watch this first contact on this screen. It's actually the defense that creates the opening and the separation. Watch 2 collide right here. That's knowing where you're going. I mean, that's just all. I mean, we know, like, BYU knew what they were doing in that. Like, they know where they're going. The defense taking possessions off. I mean, we're 6 seconds into possession, and we got a guy standing straight up at the free throw line, like not ready to guard, not ready to communicate. That's what Mark Pope offense does to you. That's what they did, and did it so well at BYU, was attacking early. That's a clean look. I mean, tell me you don't see Kobe Brea, Kerr Kriisa, somebody
down the list.
Down the list, getting that look early in transition.
Yeah, you're going to see Amari Williams in that Ali Khalifa role, and you could have Andrew Carr coming off that screen. You could have, the options are basically endless. And
you got your spacing at the top. You got a guy getting to the corner to create spacing. Like it's early offense, and it's spaced, and it's beautiful to watch.
Let's roll clip 3. Speaking of versatility, you have 6'11" Noah Waterman coming off the curl for the finish at the basket. As we kind of said, you're going to see some Andrew Carr type deal. Think Andrew Carr in this. I don't know why it's coming through blurry now.
Now, and this is that strong look again, but it's a little bit deeper, right? Like they both wings, both guys get to the corner, but you get the curl off of it, and here we go. So look at the spacing to start. So 26 seconds on the shot clock, and we got 2 guys getting to corner. Create that spacing, create those gaps. Right here, BYU can do a lot of things. They can kick it to Khalifa right there in the middle of the floor and get right into their delay offense. Jackson can come off that away action. Instead, they go with their strong. And look what's happening defensively. Got a guy trailing. You can't help too much here unless you're wanting to switch it, because we know that Khalifa can knock down that 3, right? So having a guy that's a threat there at the 5, but the spacing is what gets this. Don't shrink the floor. Keep it spaced. Get a wide open layup out of it. And Daniel, there was one more clip that I sent you separately from this that I found. Got that pulled up. It's the same exact look, Jack. Here we go. The same thing, except there's one difference. Freeze. Watch the corner guy lifting that gets rid of the help right here. Got the same look. In the first clip, he was on the strong side of the floor, buried in the corner. This one, our spacing's a little different here, but there's still spacing. But watch off the curl, get the guy in the corner down here. I can't tell who that is. He lifts, which then takes the help up. Wide open layup.
Yep, that's your 6'11" Noah Waterman.
Just changes the help. So the first clip, he was the one coming off and curling off the action. And this one, he understands it. If he stays, so take that back. If he stays in the corner here, which we talk about, don't shrink the floor. But if he stays, then there's help. And then that cut's not open. Instead, you lift and you think, uh-oh, I've seen this guy on tape come off this curl. I've seen this guy off tape pop and hit open threes. I've got to go here. Boom. Now there's no help. Finish it with a layup. So we've seen basically this is all transition stuff. This is not walking down, setting anything up. This is flowing into it, and you're putting pressure on teams instantly. Another one inside that first 10 seconds, another basket. Now, I know people's probably going to think, well, what do they do if it is 15 seconds, 14 seconds on the shot clock? We got plenty of clips to show of those two where they're side out situations and making plays. Like they execute in this system in a variety of ways in different settings in game situations.
This next one, clip 4, we have Jackson Robinson making the read to find Fousseyni Traore, which we'll see a lot of with, kind of some of the post threats that Kentucky has. Brandon Garrison, Amari Williams, obviously some the two ideal targets there.
So right here, freeze. Here, we're getting into our strong. You got spacing in the corner. Nothing off this strong action. So roll it here, Daniel, and then freeze it off the curl. All right, go. Now it's away. So all that away stuff that we talked about, now this is an away screen here for Jackson Robinson, who makes an excellent read, goes over the top, flaring back here. We're attacking. Remember those power plays we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
We get one here. We get two. Boom, two defenders. What's the right read? The help did not step over, made the right read out of the power play. Passes on target on time. That's a great read.
And that's also the value of having a guy like Jackson Robinson, who does have so much gravity as a basketball player, where they are going to collapse and say, I'm going to trust that he's going to take a bad shot or miss that read to Traore, because I'd rather him not have a one-on-one for a clean mid-range pull-up. He, fortunately for us that we will see this upcoming season, has the court vision to be able to find Traore for the easy dump off.
And there's one thing too that's happening on all these. So off the strong action, off the curl. So you see at the top of the screen, you've got an exit screen happening there, coming kind of out of that dunker spot to the corner. I know that's something that I didn't mention in the previous clips, but if you roll it back to the West Virginia clips, Daniel, I think the one that I know it was definitely the one. I think it was the one I sent you that was separate. Pretty sure there's an exit screen. Maybe it's not in this one. I think it's in another one. Yeah, it's in another one because this was the one where you get the layup. But you're going to see that exit screen again at some point. So right here, off the curl, all the way through, you're going to see that exit screen out the back. That's occupying the help side.
Yep.
So that's occupying just enough. You got a guy with his back, with his head turned outside the lane. They don't see what's happening away from the ball. Jackson Robinson attacks. Now, we're in help here, but we've not stepped all the way over to take away the tag for the rim runner. And then you got spacing. Look at the discipline spacing at the top of the screen. Nobody's shrinking the floor.
Beautiful. Let's roll on to clip 5. This one was a personal favorite of mine because Robinson has a couple of different options here and just kind of decides to play grown man ball and finish the mid-range pull-up where he could have found Ali Khalifa in the left wing and I believe Richie Saunders in the right corner.
So this is a double strong. You got two guys coming off the strong. There's nothing off those, and then you get into that away action with Khalifa and Jackson Robinson. But right here, the thing that I want to roll back here, when you get the curls off the strong, Daniel, Watch where those two players go. There's no stopping and staring, no stopping and looking. It's I know where I'm going. It's cornering up to dictate and set the spacing. Right here, we come off the away. Now, this is a shot Jackson Robinson hits, but look at the guys he has if he decides not, and he hits a tough shot. But let's say that he doesn't decide to lift here. You got the 5-man popping. You can spread out to the corner. Like the spacing is established, but he makes a tough shot. And he showed you a lot on film last year that he has the ability to make tough shots. But we've seen strong. We've seen double strong. We've seen them get into their way. Like whatever is available, they take it. And then they flow right into their next action. I mean, it's beautiful basketball. And once again, that's the latest in the clock we've seen a basket. But the action was getting started well before it got to 20 seconds.
Yeah. In the next clip 6, good result with Ali Khalifa making the right read and finishing for the strong dunk, but maybe not the best off-ball movement to kind of create some clunkiness there in the paint.
Yeah, so on this one, I mean, obviously I like what they do. So you got a couple of things here. Obviously you're getting into your strong. So we're talking a lot about, staggered screens to start this offense. This is a side-out situation. So you're starting with 20, but look how quickly they go. Now, right here, we've been seeing that curl off that. Now we get a touch. And that touch right there, that simple exchange, give it, get it right back. I know we talk a lot about get action with the bigs, Jack, but right here, this simple touch and exchange, watch what it does to the defense. Watch the two defenders having to communicate. Now we're hung up a little bit. We get it. We get that elbow touch to Khalifa here, and nobody's in position. Look at that. Nobody's sitting in there in that gap. Now, right here, I don't really want to see that back cut because I want to see you stay disciplined and hold your spacing on that strong side drive. Don't come in there.
Yeah, that's trust. That's trusting that you don't have to play hero ball and be there, that Khalifa's going to finish there.
Yep. And if your man helps off that strong side, you got a wide open 3. But Khalifa shows that the big in this offense needs to be able to move. It's not just a facilitator passer. Got to be able to keep it some. But I'm telling you, that simple touch exchange, and see how these things look the same, right? Everything looks the same. Everything's kind of got the same design, but you add a little bit here that just changes it up and creates some confusion defensively. Look at the spacing at the bottom of the screen. Like they're so disciplined with their spacing. That's the things that you're going to see Kentucky do offensively.
Next clip, you have another opportunity for Khalifa to have the ball in his hands. This time he makes the right read on the pass. You get a backdoor. As we hear time and time again with Pope, cutting. He finds what we're going to see a whole lot of this with Richie Saunders on the cut.
So you get 2 strong looks here. So you get the initial to get the action started. So the same thing that we were talking about early on the first clip that gets a transition 3. They're right here in it. Coming back off of it. So now it's away. So that's an away and a touch in exchange. You're getting it right here on the elbow. And look, we get another strong. But watch this read. Overplayed.
Yep.
And then watch the help at the top. We're lifting up here. Takes away the help. So roll that back again, Daniel, and just watch the movement. Guys that don't have the basketball are moving with a purpose. Lifting on the backside. The defense looks scattered because you're having to stay attached because BYU's got so many shooters that you have to be ready to defend. So if your man sets a screen or is involved in some screening, you have to be ready to defend it in return. So if you're getting hit with one, or if you're defending one, if your man sets a screen, you better be ready to get hit with one. That's the way that this thing works. I mean, this is a beautiful pass too, and a great read. So you're seeing a lot of high-level reads. That's why you got to have experience in things in this system, guys that have been in it, been in college basketball. Now, there's going to be a learning curve here at Kentucky with some guys doing some things like this, but you've got guys that know how to play the game.
This next clip, we have Spencer Johnson setting the screen here to create space for Trevin Nell on the catch and shoot from Ali Khalifa.
Remember that exit screen I was telling you about out the backside? Here's another one. Watch the exit.
Beautiful.
Okay. So those exit screens I was talking about where they hadn't used it. In that clip, they get a wide open 3 out of it, especially off that dive. So they get the dive right here and then off the exit. But when you've had gets and you've had stagger screens, you've had away looks, you've had zoom looks, you've had all these other things that BYU does, whether they're running a gaggle away from the ball, whatever it is, you're having to defend so many different actions that you don't really know right here. Like, is this going to be a handoff and then I'm going to have to defend something downhill? Am I going to have to be the next line of help? But we hadn't seen that exit screen be used in any of those clips. We'd seen it popping up, but we hadn't seen them use it. So when you watch film on this team, you see them get that exit screen 2 or 3 times a game. But when's it coming, Jack? Are they going to hit it at the midway point of the first half? They're going to hit it at the opening possession of the second half out of a timeout with under 4 to play in the game. Like, it's really hard to guard when you don't have a pattern. You have actions that you run, but there's so many different looks that you get off of because what the defense gives you, you take. I know that's a football term and stuff that you're looking for as a quarterback or in things as an offensive coordinator, but in basketball offense, you're doing the same thing. What are you giving me? Because I'm going to take it. And then getting the ball right there at the chin spot too. I mean, it's just different. Like, look at the different areas of the floor that Khalifa caught the ball to get action started.
That's an important piece for them, man.
I mean, look where we start here, and then look where Khalifa ends up. We've seen that long curl a couple of times too, and look where we are. We can go zoom right there too. Like, you can come all the way off that thing.
Beautiful. Let's roll the next one. Similar setup that the first one leads to a post up by Foose, and then the next one gets a Foose kick out to Trevin Nell for the clean 3.
Yep. So getting the post touch here. So roll it back, Daniel, to the very first one. So you get a rip screen here on the swing to get this thing initiated. You're looking for a punch. So you're looking to punch it in the post. So off the swing, you got a rip screen. What you'll get here, Jack, sometimes is you'll get a switch. You got a guard setting that screen on a big, you get a switch and you take it straight to the post and make somebody pay for the switch. This is a great move, great finish. On this clip, they didn't run some split action off the touch. So a lot of times when teams enter it to the post, you'll see some split action just to keep movement, keep spacing established. In the second clip, on the same exact look, rip screen, touch it to the post. You got a shooter setting the screen. Now look at the confusion. Never recovers back off that split action. So screen the screener action right here is basically what that is. Roll that one back, Daniel, and stop it initially on the contact of the first screen right there. So you got the switch, but then you're like, oh, I can't get buried here on the post. I'm not winning this one-on-one. So then they try to switch it back. And then watch what happens here. Now we're done now. Split action, wide open 3. All off a post entry. So a lot of different things. So now, but look where that's happening at, Jack. Like, that's not a stand there in the middle of the floor, walk it up, try to get into that with 14. That's getting into it and flowing into it out of transition on that play. I mean, you're making that rip screen and you got a post touch probably at 20. Video starting to go blurry again.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Got similar in clips 11 and 12 here.
All right. You've heard me talk a lot about Spain action. This is empty Spain. So freeze. Pull it back to the ball screen. So Spain action obviously is a ball screen followed by a back screen, and you got to pop. Kentucky under John Calipari ran it a ton in the middle third of the floor. I like this because you're empty. You're on this side of the floor. You got the back screen coming, so you got the ball screen. Now we got a back screen out at Kentucky in the past. You've seen guys like Nick Richards and these other bigs finish that lob over the top. Emmanuel Quickly, that team in 2019, 2020 was really good at this, and they would close games out with it because they would put Quickly as that guy setting the back screen for Richards with Ashton Higgins off the ball. They never did it in an empty setting, though, where you're on the empty side of the floor here. Nobody's in this corner. But watch what happens. You've got a guy having to worry about the man running to the rim, which then creates the advantage. All right, freeze. So right here, you're having three guys have to talk and communicate. All right, who's got ball? You've always got a shooter. You're always going to see Mark Pope put a shooter in that back screen role. Got a guy running to the rim. Now look at the help. Look at our spacing at the top. We're having to help a little longer than we want and a little more than we want. And then we're getting downhill here. And we got a wide open three.
What did you think of Kobe Brea, his comment talking about the green light that he feels he has with Pope and just how the whole roster, there's just this level of confidence that he's stressing being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and launching what to the naked eye appears to be a bad shot versus, what Kobe Brea's version of a bad shot is a lot different than what we deem it to be. Not the cleanest of clean looks for Richie Saunders theirs, which made me think about that. You're going to be getting a lot of those with Kobe Brea, Kirk Creesa, Jackson Robinson, go down the list.
To me, like when you're talking about green light, when you've got a lot of guys on this team that can shoot the ball the way that they can, you don't want them having to think about anything, right? Like, is this a good shot? Is it a bad shot? If these guys on this team can see the rim clearly, I want it fired. And that's what Mark Pope teaches, Jack. Like, it is out of your hands. And if we've got the ball in flight with 26 seconds left on the shot clock and it's a clean in rhythm three, he's taking it every single time. I think that he would take a pitch ahead three in transition over a layup. Because to Mark Pope and to BYU, with the way they played, that is a layup. And to Kobe Brea, that's a layup with nobody in the gym. A pitch ahead three.
I think he
hit those shots.
I think he hit it was 63% or something ridiculous on what Synergy would consider wide open catch and shoot threes. Kobe Brea this past season at Dayton, those numbers are just sickening.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So to me, when I hear green light and I hear these guys thinking they've got the green light and being told that's what it tells me. I don't want you hesitating at all. Because if you can't hesitate in this. We talked about power plays. We saw another one there a moment ago. That is a quick decision that has to be made instantly. It's the same way off these transition looks. If I'm coming off some away action and I've got a wide open look and it's clean, I'm taking it. Every single time I'm taking that shot. And that's the thing. They're going to shoot 33s a game or a high number. If they're having a night or a stretch where they're shooting under their season percentage, guess what? If that's who you've built yourself up to be, and that's the way you play, you're a couple of made shots away from going on a run and then making 3 or 4 in a row. You're going to be who you want to be and who you are. That's what Mark Pope is about, and that's what you're going to see Kentucky do. You're going to take a ton of threes, clean looks, and you're going to make them. They're going to make their fair share of 3-pointers.
Which, if you were a 5-star recruit who liked launching shots and liked playing up tempo and moving the ball and playing a fun 5-out system, how in the world would you look at this stuff and not say, well, screw it. I know they haven't played a game yet for Kentucky, but I want to be a part of that. And I think we're going to see that very, very quickly, that once these kids just see it with their own two eyes, it's going to be a game changer. That's why I'm just kind of just dealing with some of the early punches from the naysayers of the like, well, he can't recruit at a high level, blah, blah, blah. Like, the job recruits itself if the product is there. And we're seeing very clearly that the product was there at BYU. It's going to be here in Lexington.
It absolutely is. I think we got maybe 3 clips left.
Couple more.
Where are we at here? Some more Spain. Right here, you get the switch. Oh man, you're done right there. When you get that switch right here, and you get that left foot gets higher because you got a screen coming. So right here, they get the switch. Watch the foot. You're attacking every single time off that switch. But look where the spacing's at. If you're BYU, you're not shrinking the floor. Read it, stunt and recover, wide open layup at the rim.
And that's going to be Lamont Butler's bread and butter.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely crush that role.
All right, roll it to the next one here. Let's see what we got. Sent so many clips. I don't even remember what all I've sent. I like this one. Same thing. Spain, right into a zipper. Bam. So they added something to this one, right? Like this is a different look. Same principle, same action. Talking about Spain action here. You're coming into a ball screen. You got a back screen, but then you got a zipper coming right here off the elbow. Boom. Right there. But look at the confusion happening defensively. So go back. So how do you get so wide open right here with 23 seconds to go on the shot clock? Watch the confusion. So go back just a little bit, Daniel. So on each screen and each contact, let's freeze it. So right here, you're coming in. Defense is already talking early. 24 seconds on the shot clock, and you already got 2 guys having to talk and communicate. Initial contact. We switch it. Now watch here. Now we're getting hit with the back screen. Here's where the back screen comes into play. Now watch. Ooh, he point switches, but look how far we go. So now you got literally 3 guys communicating, having to talk, and we got a wide open 3. And the defender was standing in the middle of the paint, had no idea where he was supposed to be. That's tough. I mean, that's set plays. That's not the quick, into your delay action, going away, strong, like whatever you're running to initiate your offense. This, I mean, you see Spain action a ton. And if you're watching the Olympic games and stuff right now, like you're seeing so many advanced actions in the game of basketball, especially the international teams are running that are just a lot of fun. But you're seeing Team USA implement some of those other things where the NBA is a lot of 2-man game. You're not seeing as much 2-man game from Team USA and stuff in the Olympics. Like it's just a different approach to the game. Little things like this where you add that zipper to Spain. It's not just your traditional stack where you got a guy at the free throw line jack and a ball screener, back screener, and you're trying to pop. I like to get into things different ways and blend it, and you see BYU do just that right there. But I'm telling you, the confusion, you could take a screenshot of how many guys in that one clip. So run it here again. Ball screen, you get an initial switch. Watch number 5. Who is number 5 for Oklahoma? And then right here, getting hit with the back screen. Now watch where he goes. There's the point switch, but doesn't happen because that guy had to literally be communicating. He was defending that. He started the possession, defending the ball. So go back to that, Daniel. We'll go all the way through that one more time. I'm having a lot of fun here, Jack. Right here, he's defending the basketball. He's the on-ball defender to start. Boom. Now I'm guarding somebody else. Now we're point switching here, and I'm supposed to be taking this guy off the zipper. but I'm standing in the middle of the paint. The guy that guarded the basketball with 24 seconds to go was standing in the middle of the paint. No idea where he wanted to go, where he's supposed to go 4 seconds later.
There's Otega Owe out there too.
Yep. That's why I was making sure it wasn't him.
He'll be look at this bum out here who has no idea where he is.
All right, I think we got 2 more, and then we may stay under the hour and a half mark this time.
Got to.
More Spain action. Same thing with the zipper, but we've added a touch.
Bang.
So we started with Spain, some empty Spain. Then we went Spain with some zipper. Now we're getting a touch and some Miami action. So off this Miami action, it's a dribble handoff. And I know that he does not dribble this ball, but there's an exchange here followed immediately by a ball screen. So that's your Miami action. Now here, this is a power play. Because watch what we got coming off this. 2 guard and 1. Khalifa can take this shot. Let's go get another power play. Let's get somebody a better look.
That is a better look.
It is. So you've seen them start with Spain. You've seen them add this with the zipper. Then you go right into the touch and some Miami action right there. And you got a lot of things happening, Jack. And once again, it's all happening in that first half of the shot clock. This last one against Kansas is the one that, from a side out situation, right into a cross screen to screener, boom, right up through some strong touch, and then you got a 77, and you get a switch off that double drag, and then you attack Hunter Dickinson.
And look at the shot clock there. 7 on the finish.
Yep, and it's out of a side out. So the guy that was the trigger man on the side out, if I'm not mistaken, was the guy that ran through off the cross screen. So that cross screen, and I think they had a chance to sit on the post too off that cross. Is that all the way back? Right there. Okay. So roll it all the way through here, Daniel. All right. Yep. Sprints right into a cross. They could have sat on the post right there if they wanted to, if you get that exchange. But, I mean, we're talking 6 different actions in about 5 seconds. And then you get the switch and you attack it. So you're seeing
Cody
how
Figures
hard,
comments.
Yeah, you're seeing how hard you have to defend. Boom, boom. There's your strong. Now, look, we can't curl all the way off this because we got a guy sitting on the post. So what do? We go right into that touch. So here's the touch. Here comes the Miami. The ball screen followed by the dribble handoff. And now we got basically a double drag. We get the switch, and then we attack it. That's high IQ basketball. Doesn't have to be 5 stars doing it.
And that's what's so important and why the players have just talked every single media opportunity we've had with them, saying trust is just so important with us. Like it is so, I mean, we could make it or break each other. If I am not reading my teammate, if we're not on the same page, then I'm messing it up for everybody else. Like that's why this period of workouts is so crucial, to lay those foundations and get as close as possible to one another, or else stuff could go haywire really quick. It's a cushion with, not needing to create clean looks and opportunities, but it can also kind of be your downfall if things aren't working like a well-oiled machine. I mean, it's kind of a give and take with that. So that's why they have no choice but to be on the same page at all times, because when working, it's a thing of beauty. When not, it could get really, really hectic really, really quickly. And all early reports indicate that they have come together in a hurry, and it is looking the way it's supposed to, as we're seeing in these clips.
So what I tried to do in part 2 was part 1 was just a taste of it, right? And there's still so many layers to this. If we wanted to extend this series to 5 parts, we probably could. and I know people want to talk about defense, and I plan to do that at some point, Jack. We'll get into some things that they do defensively because we're going to have some downtime here after practices and things in the coming weeks. But when you look at the clips that I tried to piece together this time that we talked about, there was always something getting added. But that strong action to get things started, it was in the last clip, along with 5 other actions. So they scored off that action early in games. But in that last clip, you got a cross screen coming right here. So you're wanting some type of switch. Look right there. You get it. Look at the delay. So now it's putting pressure here at the top. So now we got another switch. Curl's not there. Here's a new action coming. We got the touch. Boom. It's just you're having to defend so many different things, but it's all things that if they off of it alone, it's enough to get you a basket. But when you get against teams that scout you and defend you, sure, you think you know what's coming, but try to defend 5 or 6 different things. Because if one guy gets hung up, it's a domino effect. If one guy gets hung up, Mark Pope's offensive philosophy in the way that they teach spacing and high IQ basketball and offense, you're going to get something off of it. All it takes is one. You got to be good screeners, good cutters. More important to me, the most important thing to be able to do at Kentucky for Mark Pope, you got to be able to shoot it and you got to be able to cut.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty. It's beautiful. That was a lot of fun. I like that we were able to kind of split it down the middle and, hit some recruiting updates, hit some kind of big picture, philosophy stuff moving forward, and then kind of dig into the nuts and bolts of film as you guys clearly loved last time around. So hope you guys enjoyed that, Shawn. That's all I have personally. This past week, I know as we're doing this, La Familia is about to play tonight, so things could go a number of different directions. But I was there Monday night for the Freedom Hall matchup. I was there in the middle of the brawl, in the middle of the spit wad that got thrown at Nate Sestina. It was a blast, man. There's so much nostalgia in that building, just to be in that environment to begin with. A fan base that clearly hasn't had a lot to root for in recent years in Louisville, to kind of pour everything into that game and be there for it and see that they wanted to win that game desperately, and for it to not work out the way they hoped, and to be on the winning side of that, and then have the aftermath be what it was. And Willie Cauley-Stein calling him a Onuaku an effing bum. It was great. Everything about that night was an absolute blast, and I loved every second of it. I have enjoyed La Familia and TBT way more than I kind of thought that I would, all things considered. So here's to, by the time you watch this, that we're celebrating a championship game coming up on Monday, and hopefully they take home the $1 million prize. But they sure are playing like a team that is deserving of the $1 million prize.
They certainly are, and a lot of fun to watch. Saw you on TV a few times the other day.
Did I look good? Handsome, maybe?
That's a rhetorical question, right?
Nice. Yes.
The best thing though was you didn't see this on TV, but you posted the look of disgust when Nate Sestina and their spit flying. You're like,
bro, because I was witnessing it in real time, and you could tell the tensions were getting hot, and it was like, ooh, we're getting here. And I saw Onuaku just and spit Nate Sestina's face, and it was just like, is this guy for real? Was that a genuine thing? And then to hear that it was because he was just so pissy about the L's down. You are a loser. You are an absolute fraud of a player. You need to go get a job. You're done playing basketball. You broke, your poor man's Oscar Tshiebwe with a, double-double in TBT. Congratulations, buddy. But your professional days are numbered. And I wish you nothing but the worst, because that was really gross. And if you spit on people, you're vile. So, Onuaku, you suck, bro.
I can already see somebody putting a voiceover of you
It was gross. It was vile. It was disgusting. I could not believe, just like watching on the phone, I was like, he's spitting at him over throwing the L's down at him. And then he was like, oh, well, you didn't hear him calling me a B throughout the game. I'm like, oh no, you got called the B word in a professional basketball game? Wow. How will you ever recover, buddy? Nanu. It's going to be okay, buddy. You don't need to spit at people. We can be grown-ups. We can be big boys, okay? Sound good? Freaking loser.
What time is this game, by the way?
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. So, yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping, man. I'd really suck to get this thing live and get aired and have them get their teeth knocked in or something. But I don't envision that happening. Nate Sestina's out. That sucks. Family matter that he's attending to. I don't know if he caught whatever nasty stuff Onuaku when he spit at him. He came down with something, but I guess that's what happens when you're gross and vile. So anyway, go La Familia. It's been a blast. I'm hoping. Who steps up in Nate Sestina's absence?
I think we're going to get a little more from Aaron Harrison.
It's Final Four game. That dude, once the lights turn on, that dude knows when to step up in big moments. So I think I agree. I think it's going to be him. Kellen Grady has been kind of invisible up to this point. I think it's time for him to step up, and especially that the shooting that you're losing with Nate Sestina tonight. You got to be able to replace that and step up in his absence. So I'm leaning on a couple of shots out of Kellen Grady, but I'm thinking that Aaron Harrison kind of carries the load for him.
I love Kellen, but I swear it feels like he's not hit a shot since Alabama game that year.
I don't think he has.
Other than that,
I saw him at that charity game at Tate's Creek High School. I mean, because he went for 39 or whatever it was, 37. Yeah, 37 and
televised
for 39.
I know he hit that one right there against St. Peter's that night. And it was kind of, me and you were like, he had that look of, thank God, finally one goes in, and then you're not able to carry it on. So I need some Kellen Grady made shots tonight for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to it. This has been a blast. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Hope you learned something. If you want to learn more and have any other ideas for us as we kind of come up with some stuff we have scheduled this upcoming week with Jimmy in Kentucky Roadshow Shop. We'll be there early this week, probably Tuesday or something, to take a look at that museum. It's going to be an absolute blast. Love Jimmy. He's the best. And we're going to learn a ton about the history of Kentucky basketball and all the memorabilia. He just got the denim Mark Pope 41 jersey. He has that up. So we're going to see all of his cool memorabilia, everything he has signed. It's a Kentucky fan's dream just to go in there and witness it. I mean, you're speechless. You're left speechless looking at that place. So I'm excited to dig in a little bit. And he's been at several UK practices and knows the ins and outs of this upcoming roster. So we'll ask him his thoughts on what the team looks like and how things are going. So you will not want to miss that. We thank you very much. We will keep this thing on rolling. Go subscribe to KSR Plus. All the intel and stuff that we talked about with recruiting was there first. So if you missed that, tough luck. Make sure you go subscribe to this channel. Keep doing that. The viewership and interest has just been out of this world. We're just so thankful for it. So thank you for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at Jack Pilgrim KSR. Where can fans find you, Shawn?
At _Coach S. Smith.
We will be back next time. We'll see you then.